Hey, I'm back doing the close-up camera, where you just see my eyes. I saw that in my Orc Buddies video, and I kind of like the way it turned out, so I think that's how I'm going to do this. It's kind of fun just to act with my eyebrows, and then you can't see my kitty trying to distract me. Hi, kitty. So in this video, we are going to be... Hi, kitty. Hi. Hi, kitty. You want to be in the video too, kitty? Oh, you look at me. Oh, yes. It's a good kitty. He is a good kitty. So in this video, we are going to be painting the Orc Deffkopta. And in the assembly video, I mentioned that this... Damn it, kitty. So in the assembly video, I mentioned that this is just such a cool design. It's just a dude on a... It's a freaking helicopter you can control like a motorcycle. I mean, come on, that's awesome. I'm hoping I don't have any trouble painting it. I'm wondering if I should have left the propeller off. We're gonna find out though. And of course I gave it the that yellow spritz that I did my Orc boss in the last video to really, you know, help with the highlights and everything, and kind of fake the lighting, if you will. And yeah, so we're gonna have some fun painting this dude. Let's get started. So here's a fun tip for y'all. So because I have a cat and children, I like to keep my wet palette in a plastic bag in order to protect everything that I don't want paint to get on. And while my child and cat have been pretty good about leaving this stuff alone, we had the friend of a friend's child come over, and the only thing that got paint on it was the child's hands, who apparently reached into the bag and started playing with it, and this plastic bag. So, my advice to you, if you want to live in a happy home, being a painter of things, just take your palette, put it in a Ziploc bag. Ziploc, ask for it by name. No, just any kind of sealable plastic bag will do. Cover up your palette. It'll keep the paints a little wet, so that next time you can just add a little water and you can keep using the same paint. Save yourself some money. I saw a tutorial online that kind of showed somebody painting everything that's supposed to be silver black and then just going over it with dry brush in silver. I think I'm gonna do that for this guy just to save myself some time. So we are gonna get all black up in here. I didn't mean it like that. I've kind of been deep into the 40K BS lately. I've been going into the 40K Dork Forest. So I've been watching a lot of Warhammer 40K stuff lately. Stuff like Gorka Morka videos. I am way into Gorka Morka right now. I'm seriously considering just kit bashing some rigs together and making my own board, because apparently it's not sanctioned anyway. It's not supported anymore. But it's such a neat idea, and with like stuff like Mad Max being relatively popular still, I'm surprised they don't support it. I know they have a new kit out called Speed Freaks, which I've probably mentioned on here before. And I will probably end up getting that at some point. This is really, like I said, this is practice. Okay? It's just practice. This ain't the game. This is practice. That's a sports reference that you're probably not going to get because it's years old. And the only reason I get it is because I used to listen to a lot of sports guys talk about sports. I'm not really into sports. Though I am interested in Blood Bowl now. I was surprised how many people who paint got their start painting Blood Bowl miniatures. That was very surprising for me. That must have been a very popular game a few years ago when everybody was getting started painting miniatures. Like everybody is just like, yeah, got my start painting Blood Bowl. It's like, whoa, okay. Like I said, it must have been a very popular game that I missed out on. I mean, I heard about the video game, and that's about as close as I came to knowing anything about Blood Bowl. And I saw that there's a Skaven team, which Skaven, in the Warhammer video games, Skaven are always my favorite. Like I said, I never played the actual tabletop game of Warhammer at all. But I played a lot of the video games. I mean, if you're a brand like that, you're bound to have a couple video games. I remember there was a PlayStation 1 game, I think it was PlayStation 1, that was really good. And the Skaven in it were so funny, because they were just like, I don't know, they talk like Yoda, basically. In a little high-pitched voice, or just, die you will! You know, kind of that thing. And they're a lot of fun. And then I looked up, since I was doing this, the 40K stuff, I looked up to see what's going on in just vanilla Warhammer. Because, I mean, if I got some vanilla Warhammer figures, I could use those in, like, D&D and stuff like that. And it's like, who would care? Because that's kind of how Warhammer got its start, is they were just Dungeons and Dragons miniatures, and the guy making them was just like, well, D&D doesn't require miniatures, so like I need something that requires miniatures that will encourage people to come buy these things from me. And so he had somebody write a game world and rules, and the rest is history. Back in 1982, I think. I just did a Wikipedia deep dive recently so that I would have something to talk about on this video. Don't mind me. But yeah, I looked into the Warhammer, the newer Warhammer stuff, and to my surprise, they're kind of, I don't know. I know I'm not the first one to make this observation, so forgive me for being cliche. But the new vanilla Warhammer, or fantasy Warhammer, seems to be trying to be Warhammer 40K, which I think Warhammer 40K is probably a more popular brand for them, so it's probably more of a business decision than anything else. Sell out with me, oh yeah. It's called Age of Sigmar, and there's the, what are they called? The Stormcast. They're warriors of light who work for a guy named Sigmar, so they've been calling them Sigmarines because they do bear a passing resemblance to Space Marines. That's a brand people know. That's a brand people like. Everyone knows Games Workshop. They were the first guys. come up with Space Marines. The name Space Marines is theirs. They're not the only ones to use it over the years, but they are the first ones to coin that term. But the Stormcast, they do look a lot like Space Marines. I'm sure they'll have crazy lore in the future about how the Stormcast turn on Sigmar or whatever, and it ends up just being exactly like Warhammer 40k. There's like a faction of Sigmarines that are all into chaos and stuff like that. We'll see though. But yeah, that's I'm probably going to end up getting that Speed Freaks thing at some point, just because it looks like a fun game. And the fact that it's kind of their new version of Gorka Morka, I think. Like, they don't want to re-release Gorka Morka, but this is the next best thing. Plus you get guys on motorcycles and guys on guys in souped up hot rods. But yeah, I just like that combination of hot rods and then fantasy characters, I think is just really cool. There's also a line of kind of off-brand figures. I don't know if they're supposed to represent anything in the Warhammer 40k universe or not, but they're kind of a Tank Girl inspired series of figures called Jailbirds by Raging Heroes, and they are so awesome looking, and I may end up getting some. I may end up getting like a set of them just to have like Tank Girl style punk rockers in the Speed Freaks game. I wonder if they'd be the right size for that. I think that would be really freaking cool. Just to have your custom ass Speed Freaks team. And I freaking love Tank Girl. It was funny when people were complaining about Battlefield because they put a woman on the cover or whatever. It's like, come on, guys. There were women who fought in World War II. They weren't just behind the front lines. And those front lines changed sometimes. So even if they were in the front lines, they still had to fight. They still trained them how to use a gun. Somebody posted, it's like, what you want? And it's just like a picture from World War II. These guys were surrounding a tank. It's like, what EA's giving you? And it was a picture of Tank Girl, you know, on her tank. And it was on Twitter, and I immediately posted like, oh man, I would give my left nut for a good fucking Tank Girl game. And the guy ended up deleting his tweet because it just didn't get the attention he wanted, I guess. It got my dumb ass saying like, oh man, Tank Girl's awesome. Because Tank Girl is awesome. I don't care what anyone says. We need some punk rock heroes right now. Now more than ever. Orks are pretty punk rock. Hope I didn't lose everybody by talking about Tank Girl and how awesome that movie is. And comic book. Comic book's pretty awesome too. Okay, well, green skin. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to yellow. This is your ASR moment. I've been avoiding using the kind of yellow-red color scheme, but I figure for a vehicle, I probably should use yellow. Yeah, oh, going back to the Age of Sigmar thing, the thing I wanted to complain about the most is that they kind of turn the Skaven into just sort of henchmen of like Nurgle, of like the plague god, and it's like, man, that ain't cool. If I wanted to play as the plague guys, I would play as the plague guys. I want to play as the Skaven, which you can, but that's not the kind of Skaven I like. I like the Scries who use like guns and stuff and technology. I think they're fun. Gonna add just a little bit more paint to this, and we're gonna get in here on this propeller. There you go. Have a little fun with it. I kind of like the way that looks. I think I'm gonna add a couple more stripes on this thing. Maybe just to these wings right here. I like how messy that looks. I kind of like it looking a little messy because it was made by Orks, so. There we go. Alright. I'm going to switch over to silver now. Okay, so I've made sure to put a nice heavy coat of silver everywhere where I thought silver should be. Everything that I thought should be silver. And then I'm just going to dry brush before I do the wash this time. Okay, so for my next trick, I'm gonna use a paint pen, because I notice on this, this is upside down, but you get the idea. I noticed on this they put like little divots in the paint, almost like almost like little pebbles have been hitting the propeller blades and chipping the paint off. See that on cars sometimes. So I'm going to add that using just a normal paint pen. These things are great for if you're making something and you want it to look weathered. So we're just going to do little, as I'm going to try just touching this to some of the nuts on here. And I really like the way that looks, actually. I'm going to take my time on doing this, and when I come back, I'll be doing the wash. It's time to wash this this dirty orc boy and make him nice and dirtier. Oh man. Alright, there's my dirty boy, all dirtied and mucked up. Alright, so we're just going to give that a chance to dry, and then we're going to go back over it and do some layering just to bring some more of that color back out, and then this bad boy will be ready to fly. I'm gonna, this little headlight up here, I'm gonna try to add a little white to it, just to kind of give it the illusion that it's on. How's it going? We finished this bad boy up. Here he comes. I really like the way this one turned out. I like the rough look of it, of the yellow paint. I think turned out really cool. And then of course the little silver accents and everything. I just kind of shoddy work, but it's an orc, so it's okay if it's shoddy, right? Right. So anyways, thanks for watching. Next week I'm going to be doing the bases and everything on these dudes. So hope you'll come around for that. Like, comment, subscribe so you can see that video. All that good stuff. Alright. Well, till next time, you know, keep flying the friendly skies.